Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. This is Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And of course, we're here beaming live, broadcasting live from Western Spring Television. And of course, this is what we do at this time. And this is the station that says it as it is. Femi Ojo is my name. Thank you for staying with us all week. Today promises to be very exciting. We have the papers, and then we get to talk about issues of public importance. Morning.
Good morning, Femi. How are you doing?
Very
good.
Well. Thank you.
And good morning, people. Welcome on board. It's Friday, the TGIF edition of Morning Spring. And like you already know, as you already know, it's my best day of the week. And it launches us into the weekend. We are already in the weekend. And this is the time where you tend to douse the tension and get a well-deserved break. Welcome on board once again.
All right, we are very delighted that you are here with us. And of course, the papers are in. We have a very long way to go this morning, so we get right into it. Let's inform you, we're on Channel 190, on StarTimes DTT, and also on Western Spring Television's social media handles, on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course on YouTube. We'll take this break. We'll be back. All right, let's start with The Guardian on the headline segment. Today, The Guardian newspaper, Nigeria, and then, you know, these really intentional, it's supposed to be professional football league, but The Guardian has it as Nigerian unprofessional football league, and it has all these speeches, disturbing ones, and it says how dodgy officiating, complicit club officials, supporters ruin games. There's a complete ecosystem there. Officiating, the club officials, supporters ruin games. And sometimes I like to add players themselves are part of these. You can see the pictures of, you know, players and supporters. I mean, supporters interference, officials being attacked in different professional football leagues, okay, the NNL and the NPFL as well. Moving on, victims lose 17.67 billion naira to fraudsters in 2023. Before we move on, I remember a match between Kano Pillars and I can't remember now. It was a season-ending match, and it really turned messy. Like I think like 4 years ago, and I remember the captain of that Kano Pillars side, you know, Rabi Lawal or something, his name, one of the veterans of Kano Pillars, he attacked an official, and this is how players put the game into disrepute as well. 2 army officers face court-martial over bombing of 100 in Kaduna. Okay, you remember the story, the accidental discharge of a bomb on a community. You're hearing that 2 army officers are facing or to face court-martial over bombing of 100 in Kaduna. And today, World Press Freedom Day, now seeks release of detained journalists. All right, that must be sought every day, you know, not just a commemoration of World Press Freedom Day. And it's part of what we do here, some of the hazard that comes with the job, necessarily, and most times unnecessarily. You know, high-handed people in power, criminal elements, picking on the journalist, you know, to just show them what they can do to them. And we use this medium to celebrate every journalist, print, you know, electronic, conventional, and maybe, albeit non-conventional media people as well. And NDIC raises maximum bank deposit insurance coverage to 5 million naira. Petrol scarcity, long queues, dry pumps remain despite federal government's assurances. Labour defends 615,000 naira wage proposal as state review fiscal capacity. And NGE tax National Assembly on better deal for the journalists, and CSOs demand suspension of officials, party members facing corruption trial. And I'd like to welcome Ladi Jalabi at this point. Ladi, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Femi. Good morning to you, Evelyn.
So many talking points. Let me take these. 2 army officers face court-martial over bombing of 100 in Kaduna. You remember that sad incident? This is what we are hearing today.
Well, such an unfortunate incident in Kaduna State, and you know, just like you know, it is the military norm.
Yeah.
You don't get to try officers in you know, conventional courts. You know, they have their own system of checking their officers, and I think this is just in a way to bring justice, you know, to the people that this sad event happened to, and also to maybe clear the air. Was it done on purpose? Was it an error? Was it something? So I feel let's just see what will be the outcome of, you know, the court martial for these guys, and see what the military will be coming out with.
Yes, if I can just squeeze this one in 2 minutes. How dodgy officiating, complicit club officials, supporters ruin games, and the Guardian, you know, tagged it Nigerian unprofessional football league.
Well, you know, Femi,
I know you have a lot to say on this regard.
Of course, yes. That's why the 1 minute may not be enough, but I will try 30 seconds, possibly. Well, Nigeria Football League, I've been following as far back as maybe 2000 or thereabouts. And while we see a bit of improvement one way, we see backwardness in a lot more ways, you know. With clubs, I've seen situations where club officials tell, you know, media guys that are coming to, you know, cover their matches. We don't want you guys here. Why? You know, we've seen situations whereby I mentioned the day where the club chairman actually made the substitution himself instead of the coach doing the substitution. You know, a lot of things. But be that as it may, Femi, I still blame the management. If you want to run it, there is nowhere in the world that people want
management on whose side? The club side or
I'm
the
talking
NFF?
about the league management committee now.
NPFL.
You know, if you want to stamp your authority, stamp it. All these matches we are beaming live, you are not ready to join us, please move. In the German Bundesliga, as big as it is, you only have about 16 teams. In some leagues in Europe, you don't have up to 20. It's not a must we run 20 league team. We have leagues around the world that are no more than 10, 12, 15. So if you have only 12, 15 clubs that are ready to, you know, to do the needful, then go with them. We've seen situations whereby, you know, club sides in Nigeria use plaster to put the name of their player on their jersey. It is that ridiculous. So and it boils down to also management from the high to the low.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into the deep, but there are some club sides that they are board members. All they care about is to share the money at the end of the season.
All right, a lot to talk about, but that's what time will permit us to look at from the front page of The Guardian for today.
All right, from the Guardian newspaper, we head on to the Vanguard newspaper for this morning. And on the Vanguard newspaper, minimum wage, governors working on what is payable, says the NGF, with riders here, says 37-member tripartite committee still consulting. Shows of looking into remuneration of state judicial officers, infrastructure of courts. Labour justifies 615,000 naira wage demand, gives breakdown and counters government on May 1 commencement date for new minimum wage. And of course, press freedom crucial to democracy, good governance. Yeah, today is May 3rd, commemorates the World Press Freedom. And away from that, resident doctors protest shortage of manpower, others in Kogi. And of course, we all know the news that has been coming out of that particular state. And away from that, mayhem in Lagos. That's the picture right there on the front page of Vanguard newspaper. Scene of a violent clash which erupted among traders at Ile-Epo market on Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, with multiple shops and goods set ablaze yesterday. You can get onto the Vanguard newspaper to read on more details of that incident for yourself. Petrol scarcity, long queues linger despite FG's assurances. Okwama Court adjourns till June 4 for hearing. An IPOB declares seat at home May 30 to honor Biafra heroes. And top strip. NDIC raises deposit insurance coverage by 900%. NSA orders enforcement of cybercrime law. And Obaseki accepts Vanguard Award, gives reason for Edo Best Initiative. Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. FG's allegation divisive, distracting, says Peter Obi. And let's see what we have here just for the human. Mr. and Mrs. The man said, may God wipe crime away from our society. Your amen was the loudest. Do you realize that you are the wife of a lawyer? Okay. All right. Amazing. Let's move over to Ladeji Alabi here. It's World Press Freedom Day, May 3rd. And I'd like to just ask you this question. In Nigeria, do you think we have all the strength, or, you know, do you think we should celebrate a World Press Freedom Day the way we should celebrate it, if you get what I mean?
Actually, I don't want to sound like a politician and, you know, throw the question back to you, because you are a press woman and you work in the press. And also, I will say, at least I'm also an insider. I've seen a couple of situations where journalists ask politicians questions. They answer the convenient one. Don't forget, in Nigeria, we have the Freedom of Information Act that has been signed to law. Yeah. But I can tell you that law has not been domesticated in more than 80% of the states in Nigeria. So if you ask them any question, they can tell you we don't have an answer to that, and you can't do anything about that. So if you ask me point blank, I will tell you, Evelyn, there is no press freedom in Nigeria. What we have is, you know, allowing the press to do what conforms with what the government wants. 2 days ago, or maybe was it yesterday? No, 2 days ago now, we saw a correspondent of a popular TV in Nigeria asking the minister. One of the questions, you know, journalists are called the fourth estate of the realm. They are meant to ask questions. That their job, they are paid to ask questions. And your job as a political officer is to answer the questions, because you are not spending your own money. You are spending government money, taxpayers' money. And this young lady asked the Minister of Works a simple question. You were picking at her, I'm a village man, I don't understand grammar. These are the issues. When they ask them convenient questions, when they praise them, you see them enjoy it. You see them, but the moment journalists, the moment press guy ask them an inconvenient question, they pick at them. You could see since early this year, Fisayo Soyombo, an investigative journalist, has been asking Nigerian Customs Service, what is happening with the issue of smuggling in Nigeria? Did you see them answer him? What did you see in return? Police calling for him to show up in their office, calling for, and you know, the sad thing is, a lot of Nigeria predicted. Somebody said, the moment Fisayo posted that thing, somebody said, in Nigeria, it is possible that Fisayo get arrested even before the alleged smuggler. And what happened? They invited the board chairman of FIG. They asked her to produce Fisayo Soyombo. So, but where is the press freedom? Where is, have you not seen a couple of TV stations being sanctioned in Nigeria because they posted something that is against the government? So, no, quote and unquote. So, if you ask me, Evelyn, I don't want to say we are tilting towards, you know, maybe an autocratic or authoritarian state. But I think if government wants to understand that we are practicing democracy, then they should allow journalists practice their job as it is meant to be. Let the press people do their job. Their job is to open what the citizens can not see. Do you get? So for me, Evelyn, I'm not sure we have something serious to call freedom of press in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Ladeji. World Press Freedom Day celebrated every May 3rd. And for this year's theme, it is a press for the planet, journalism in the face of environmental crisis. That will be all from the Vanguard.
Right, and you know, I tend to reason along that many press, inclined people, pressmen, journalists, who feel, even the press, we ourselves we don't tell our own stories enough. We don't speak about our own challenges enough. We tend to speak about others, but then
because when you tell your own story, they will tell you are not meant to have an opinion.
Yeah.
And they don't know you guys also live in the country.
We gloss over some of the
PMS
things.
the same amount every other person.
All right, or even PMS can be an hindrance to you doing your work.
Doing your
Scarcity. We know what we have experienced in the last 3 days.
You guys are not meant to be hard.
Okay, we are being hard. We are speaking to those issues now. And Daily Trust has this paper. Repentant Boko Haram members invade police station in Borno, attack immigration, NDLEA checkpoints. We repelled them, please. No comment for now. Borno government. It calls for review of de-radicalization program. Expert. And of course, you could see the picture there. Suspected repentant Boko Haram insurgents arrested in Maiduguri. This is like 8 of them with some of the weapons displayed at their back. Repentant. Okay, moving on. Binance founder sent to jail as Nigeria awaits extradition of Africa manager Jim Anjarwalla. And Press Freedom Day, Guild of Editors frowns at abusive lawsuits against journalists. We are committed to better wages governance. Tudumbiri Bami, relatives demand justice as military indicts 2 officers, and we won't blame Buhari for our challenges. Shetima, really. Bandits kill 17, abduct 5 in Kaduna and Sokoto communities. Not again. May 15 slated for inaugural flight as 65,000 Nigerians pay for Hajj. Quickly, Ladeji, repentant Boko Haram members invade police station in Borno. That's what the Daily Trust is reporting. Attack immigration, NDLEA checkpoints. The police are saying we repel them. No comment from Borno government for now. And experts are saying there should be a review for this de-radicalization program.
Well, I have never been in support of this de-radicalization, that Buhari government started. These are not just, people that they are fighting an ideological war. It is very difficult for you to, win an ideological war, except you pay them, you answer them in a way, in a language they understand.
Which is
face them. You don't arrest. These are terrorists. They are not like freedom fighter. They are not like activists. They are not like, comrades.
So is it different from the amnesty given to the Southerners during the time of Yar'Adua?
It is quite different because these people target people that are powerless. They target church, mosque, marketplaces, where most times you don't find politicians. And what is their anger? Soft target. What is their anger? We don't want, we don't want Western education, and it is sad. Make it make sense. You don't want Western education, you don't want Westernization, but you use Westernly made, weapons. In some cases, you use even, cameras and all made by the Western world. Now, but that aside, when Buhari government came and they started shouting, "Oh no, they have repented," who preached to them? What changed their mind? How sure are you that they have repented? And now you de-radicalize them. Don't forget also, about a few weeks back, we had about one of them that went to a military base in Enugu, killed an officer there. Now they have the effrontery to attack NDLEA, not only NDLEA police, and all. And we are talking about police repelling them. What have we done to... So now the implication of what we are doing is that you are telling more people go into this. When you are caught, we will de-radicalize and we tell the society, you have been... Don't forget also that at the time there were reports that some of them have been integrated into, the constabulary of the police, into some of the units of the Nigerian military. This you cannot find in any serious nation.
Yeah.
So I think if we take our fight against terrorism so seriously, then we should not be talking about the radicalization of Boko Haram members.
All right, that's what we have on the front page of the Daily Trust.
All right, from the Daily Trust, we add on to the Nation newspaper this morning. On the Nation newspaper, states will pay only sustainable minimum wage, say governors. Subnationals to adopt Justice Sector Summit resolution. And we have that quote there by the governors, the NGF, saying we are reviewing our individual's fiscal space and the consequential impact of various recommendations to arrive at an improved minimum wage we can pay sustainably. And, would like to ask, what will that be? Away from that, petrol scarcity persists in cities. And bottom strip, NGE seeks repeal of anti-press freedom laws. EFCC Cubana chief priest in near settlement. Amazing. Away from that, a new twist to Olubadan as kingmakers Ladoja disagree. Intrigue keeps Olakunleyin waiting. Police parade mastermind of Kaduna Abuja train attack, and Binance chief's money laundering trial stalled. More on the Nation newspaper this morning. Army moves against ambush killing of troops, and Lagos accounts for 20% of Nigeria's GDP. 50 held over Lagos market fracas. That story is on page 29 of the Nation newspaper this morning. Ladeji, states will only pay sustainable minimum wage, say governors. What do you say? The Labour is asking for 615,000 naira, and you heard the president of the NLC say that on May Day, no less than 615. If you're going lesser than 615, then we cannot guarantee, a united industrial space in Nigeria. But what is your thought on this? 615, do you think all states can pay it? And do you think the NLC should actually settle with what states can pay? Well,
in reality, Evelyn, go and do your, investigation. Even the 30,000 some states are yet to start paying.
All right.
So the reality is, for me, I still maintain my ground. NLC should be fighting for a working society where the economy works for everybody.
All right.
The higher the minimum wage, the higher, a lot of things goes high. Yeah. And between you and I, we are both not professional economics, but do you see even the federal government paying 650 or 615,000 naira monthly?
It could be an asking price.
Oh, asking. No, but she just mentioned that the NLC
they can't go anything lesser than that.
He's not going less.
And they gave the breakdown of how that 615 came about.
In reality,
they justified it.
NLC should not. Most of the times, when you want to make case for a political office holder, you also don't want a stand, and you don't have a standing point, because also recently there are reports that even the Senate, their remuneration has skyrocketed from 13-point-something million they take before to 22 million. That's 55% increment. Yeah. And now we are talking about people that work day in, day out. Yeah. I'm not a fan of, our National Assembly, because many of them, I watch them most of the time, they sleep there. But these are the civil servants I'm coming, Femi. These are the civil servants that work in school, that work in hospital, the military guys, the police, all of these guys. It is difficult for us to increase their pay. Now, in reality, I feel at this time it is best we go, we decentralize, or we make it, let each state determine what they can pay. Negotiate with the NLC.
Go for true federalism.
True federalism. But now, going forward, NLC should look towards having a better society than, incrementing salary every now and then.
Thank you very much. I know you have a lot to say. We have a lot to ask. We keep asking these questions as well. Thank you, Ladeji, for your time. We go on this quick break right now. When we come back, the conversation will be in two folds. You want to meet our guest? Don't go anywhere. All right, you're welcome back. And the conversation is in two folds, just like I said. The first leg of it, it's about national dialogue, a national conversation, the involvement of everyone in the betterment, decision-making process of leadership, choice, having conversations that has to do with the Nigerian state, and of course the involvement of everyone, every professional. Because obviously, gone are the days where national conversations are left to politicians alone. And now the narrative is everybody should own this project called Nigeria. And this morning, at the first leg, we are looking at the role of entertainers, you know, in this national conversation as well. Their role as individuals, their role as professionals in, you know, shaping the course of the nation as well. And we have been joined this morning by someone who was really involved in that conversation, especially coming from what transpired, you know, at the 2023 general elections till now. You know, he was very categorical about his choice, and he was very vocal about what he believes in. We have been joined by Oluwaseyi Aletile. You might not really know the name, but when I say Sheyilo, you know who we are talking about. And he joins us virtually this morning. Sheyilo, thank you for joining us. Good morning.
Thank you for having me. It's such a beautiful day.
We are delighted to have you. And very quickly, for some persons that might be thinking, who are we talking about? How about his craft? Just hang in there for you to have a feel of the man called Sheyilo. We'll be back.
You see, if you notice last year when you watched the program, you notice here they particular about some people. There was this man, this guy they do in NYSC. Now they carry on, they transfer and go on primary school, may go teach. Meanwhile, this my guy na chronic stammerer. My guy enter school. The first day for class, you know class captain now, as the class captain, see their new teacher now hit death. Everybody stood up. Good afternoon, sir. We are happy to see you. God bless you. My guy won't reply, see problem. He said, oh, how are you? The whole class shouted, oh, fine. The teacher provoked. He said, what is wrong with all of you? Fine, you cannot say. Today I want to teach you about animals that live in water and on land. Number one example. My guy go blackboard, I ran crocodile. He say, all of you pronounce after me. The whole class shouted, Teacher provoke. He said, whoa.
All right, amazing one there by Sheyilo, and you recall that was a very old video and one that we would always remember Sheyilo for. Sheyilo, are you still with us?
I'm very much with you.
Okay, watching that video, you know, what are you relieving? You know, it's been a very long time. I'm sure a lot of people actually knew you by that particular performance. That particular performance announced you. So what are you relieving right now watching that video?
It brings back good memories of the days of Little Beginning. And it is amazing to relive that. These are some of the things that you probably will see, and it will remind you to keep being humble and keep being yourself. And I'm just grateful to God for where I am currently.
All right, thank you so much. So now let's get to you know, Sarah's conversation. At this time, you are an entertainer, and you know, your voice has been heard recently so loudly, especially during the last general election. You actually were a voice that spoke so loud, especially on social media. And we all know one particular candidate, I'm talking about the presidential election, that you really supported. You spoke for him, conversed for him, and you believed so much in what he had to offer. I'm talking about the person of President Bola Tinubu. So I'd like to ask you sincerely, what actually informed your choice of your support for or picking President Bola Tinubu at the time when he was, you know, campaigning for elections in the general election above the other candidates?
There are a whole lot of things that I considered before I decided to throw my support and behind President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. First, I grew up in Lagos, And for somebody who is very conversant with what Lagos used to be and what Lagos has become, I don't see any way I could have supported another candidate aside from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'll cite some examples. During my secondary school days, we started off at Broad Street in Victoria, Lagos Island, before the school was moved to Victoria Island, just behind the Zenith Bank headquarters. And in the course of that journey, I saw Lagos for myself, and I know the transformation that has gone on in Lagos State today. There was a time in Lagos State where on the road, when somebody gets knocked down by vehicles or somebody suddenly dies on the road, you know, we see dead bodies on the road, and you know, it becomes swollen and eventually get burst, nobody to pick it up at some point in time. And then somebody came and changed all those things. I remember what Ahmadu Bello Way, that has become a hub for businesses in Lagos today. I remember what it was like, because then I remember I take buses from home and then we pass through Ahmadu Bello Way to where we call Ademola Odeko roundabout. I remember when water used to, you know, when we had the ocean surge, almost submerging the whole of Ahmadu Bello Way. Yeah. And then it was a popular saying amongst Lagosians that it was the IMB building that was in front of the bar beach that was causing the water to overflow its bank, and that the Mami Water was angry because of that building. And then somebody came and initiated the program of you know, land reclamation, which has since bettered one of the most luxurious and real estate asset for Lagos State today, which is the Eco Atlantic. And going by the Eco Atlantic, you know that American Embassy probably has one of the singular most expensive projects on that axis. Their embassy center that is going to cost about $537 million. And that for me is a job creation, and you know, which is very good for the economy. And also, I will not also forget where we have the Oriental Hotel today and the Civic Center. You know, those days we stop at the place where we call Maroko Sanfield bus stop. And just across that place is where the new, the Oriental Hotel is, and lots of so thrown to where we have the Civic Center. And that place was an epitome of deaths, you know, back in the days. Every other day we go home during the weekend, and then we resume on Monday, and there was a dead body found on the dump site within the waters. And today, that place has some of the most iconic buildings in Nigeria. The Oriental Hotel is a landmark. The Civic Center is also you know, a monument to behold in Lagos State. You know what Ozumba Mbadiwe has become? And, you know, a lot of people don't even know what it means to link from Aki Adesola in Victoria Island to Ikoyi that we all celebrate today. These are some of the things that I've seen. The development that has taken place along the Lekki-Epe axis is the reason why a lot of us so-called celebrities today are celebrating that we are properties owners in Lagos. In some 25, 20 years ago, nobody will want to own a place on those houses. We remember during the festive period, and then we go to the beach and we're stuck in traffic. But then we see this progress, and there is no other person that has done more for Nigeria in that regard when it comes to development.
All right, Mr. Law. So for you, it's about choosing someone you that has been tested and that you can trust for the job?
Exactly. Absolutely.
All right. Before my colleague comes in, I'd like to also ask you, before now, we do not get to see celebrities or entertainers, you know, get involved so deeply in political conversation or even national dialogue as we have in the past 2 years. We see people come out clear-cut and say, this is what I believe in, this is what I want. You know, gone are the days where entertainers or celebrities are just used for promotions by these politicians. They just come and do a promo for them, and they do not really belong, you know, anywhere. In the last election, general election, we saw celebrities, entertainers, you know, stand in political conversation, add national dialogue, in fact, add a candidate. And we could actually say that it also caused a kind of a split in the entertainment industry, where a lot of you were at each other's jugular, trying to sell your candidates, trying to bring the other candidates down to promote your own. What would you say have changed over the years, where we see entertainers now, celebrities now, get so vocal about political conversations?
For me, I probably would not know for a lot of people, but I can speak for myself. In 2014, when there was a call for elections in Nigeria, and President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan contested in that election, and it was more like a two-horse race between President Goodluck Jonathan and the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari. I remember I was on a tour to the United Kingdom, and I tried to, during my tour, to convince people to vote for President Goodluck Jonathan. And I'll tell you, one of the main reasons why I wanted Goodluck Jonathan to continue then was because it was said then that Nigeria's economy was growing at a 7% rate, and that by 2050, we probably would have surpassed the United States economy. And for me, as a person, there was a rebase that was done then by the Ngozi Iweala, Okonjo-Iweala, and my industry in particular was said to be contributing about 0.3% to the Nigerian GDP. That was the first time the rebase was done, and it showed me the importance of what my industry contributes to the nation. And a lot of time, and this is because a lot of time people think that entertainers just make money and they contribute little or nothing to the economy. And so seeing that, I saw somebody who is responsible towards my industry, and I felt that this man should continue. Were there some lapses during the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's administration? Yes. There were corruptions here and there, but then for me, the foremost thing was to see that the economy of Nigeria grows and people are well-to-do. And so a lot of Nigerians didn't believe in my ideology at that time when I was clamoring for Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And so people voted en masse for President Muhammadu Buhari. And the same people who did that eventually regretted it. For somebody like me, I never regretted that President Muhammadu Buhari came into power. That's why the fact that I didn't vote for him twice in 2015 and 2019. I never voted for him. But then I could see some of the things that he did. And when it is worth praising, let us tell the person that he has done well in this regard, and let us also criticize when we need to criticize.
All right.
In terms of people management, I believe President Muhammadu Buhari failed woefully. For me, he didn't do well in that regard. In terms of corruption management, he failed woefully. But in terms of infrastructure, President Muhammadu Buhari is probably the president since democracy in this nation who has done very well in terms of infrastructural development in Nigeria. We talk about the second Niger bridge. We talk about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We talk about the Woko bridge. And you know, we talk about the Kano-Kaduna.
I'm afraid we might have to butt in at some point because of time, because we have a lot to really ask you, Sheila. Let me ask you, Evelyn said the other time that entertainers, celebrities took a position, very strong one, including yourself, different divides. You had candidates in which you spoke for, worked for, And unashamedly, you know, by the way, it was your thought. I like to ask, because the conversation this morning essentially about the roles of entertainers in social dialogue, not just the comic side, not just the business side, but having your voice being heard. I'd like to ask you, your choice at the last election, who has become the president now, was it a conscious effort for your voice, like an entertainer, somebody of influence, to be heard? Or it was just Seyi Law as a Nigerian, you know, working for a particular candidate? Was it a conscious effort that you as an entertainer, you having influence, you will be heard? Or it was just a personal decision to exercise your rights, knowing fully well that you're a person of influence?
First, it was about my personal decision, number one. And there is no way a Seyi Law will take a decision that the brand will not also be a part of that decision. And the truth is, we cannot leave the Nigerian project to politicians alone. These people make policies that affect our day-to-day life. And if we leave it absolutely in their hand, when the nation fails, then we can't blame anybody because we refuse to do something. I took a stand. I decided to stand by my choice. I believe in my choice. And when it is necessary, we criticize. When it is also necessary, we appraise, and then, you know, we let people know. Part of the problem that I think that a lot of us as entertainers have had is the fact that to sell a bad outlook sells more in the entertainment business, most especially comedy. It is easy to make something the butt of the joke. That is the way comedy works. Somebody has to become the butt of the joke. And for a long time, our nation, for me, has been the butt of the joke. It is time to project the Nigeria that we want out there to the world. And it is time for us to take a stand to put a good image about Nigeria outside. It's not been easy for me as a person who is an entertainer who spoke out vocally for this administration to now come on stage and denigrate the nation. And so I've had to build new joke around other things, except making Nigeria the butt of the joke. And that is why I will speak up when I ought to and call on the people who should take certain decisions to make Nigeria better. All right. Call them out.
Oh, all right. Good one there. Let me ask your choice, was the candidate of the APC then, who eventually became the president, and he's in the saddle right now. Yeah. Many Nigerians will want to say, because of the prevailing circumstance right now, I don't know, I'm not sure you're in Nigeria or not. If you are, then you know the situation of the field. Many persons might want to say, maybe it's the fault of the president, maybe it's not his fault, but the bulk, everything that happens in any nation rests on the table of the president. The decisions he took, the policy, discontinuation of the payment subsidy, the floating of the naira, some of these things has come with its pains very hard. You've come out on like a couple of times to make clarification to say, and remember one of your opponents say, you are not laughing at the pains of Nigeria, but then when you must say something, you must do it. When Nigerians will say, Seyi Law and his likes, who supported Asiwaju, are the ones who have put us in this problem. Do you still stand with your decision?
Of course, I stand with my decision on my support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is no backing out on that. Even if I have any reasons to back out, it will be during the next election. He's been voted in unless the National House of Assembly decide to do otherwise. They are the only people right now who can, impeach the president. We're talking about the things of Nigerians, and like I've always maintained, everything we cannot take away the blame from the presidency. And I said this, most especially the lingering fuel issue. We know that this is self-sabotage coming from Nigerians. But then we can't blame Nigerians who are trying to sabotage the nation if the people in the presidency who are supposed to take critical decisions to support Nigerians have refused to do that. Some filling stations have to be locked up. Some petroleum marketers have to be arrested. These are hard decisions that have to be taken. If you're refusing to sell and you have to cause chaos in the nation, what is DPR doing? the regulatory bodies should go to these filling stations, just like the then governor of Ondo State did, the former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, where he went to filling stations that refused to sell and, took charge of the pump, and they stored for people for free, and the filling station was locked up, because if people are causing artificial pains to Nigeria, then they should be held responsible. We cannot say that fuel subsidy is absolutely gone due to the floating of the naira. Because of the floating of the naira, some sort of way to keep the fuel pump price at the price that it is, some level of subsidy are being paid. And so if government is doing that, nobody should take the opportunity or take the chance on Nigerians to groan in pain. You go to some filling station where they have 6 pump stations, and then they decide to sell with just 2. These are part of the problem.
But you realize that the government has continually denied that it's still paying subsidy on PMS. And you just said now that subsidy is still being paid in one way or the other. And a lot of economists and experts also have said that subsidy is still being paid in Nigeria, but the government of the day has kept on denying the fact that it is paying subsidy. Don't you think this is dishonesty on the part of the government? Are they not supposed to be transparent with the people they are leading?
The thing is this, because when I say some sort of subsidy is still being paid, we have to look at it critically. The subsidy that is being paid, is it on the PMS or in terms of keeping because these people buy fuel from the international market, and then the price of the dollar is high at this point, and so they had to come in to sort of subsidize the dollar for the people who are buying from the international market to regulate the price of the fuel. And so if they say they are not paying subsidy on the fuel, maybe then we'll say they're subsidizing the dollar. And so it might not be directly on the fuel, but somehow I know, and I think I'm sure that some sort of subsidy is being paid.
All right. I'd like you to listen to this statement. I would rather stay with the Moses through the wilderness to Canaan than eat meat and drink wine in slavery in Egypt at the expense of my children's future. That statement is actually from you. And you made it earlier this year, and you said you would rather stay with Moses through the wilderness, and that's reaffirming your support for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I'd like to ask you, that means you're actually you are acknowledging the fact that things are not really rosy at this time, but you still believe in the administration of President Bola Tinubu to take us to Canaan, as you called it, rather than go back to Egypt and become a slave. I want you to expatiate on that, and why do you think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is still the Moses that can take us to Canaan land?
I'll tell you first, if you note the story of and the journey of the Israelites from Egypt to Canaan, you will know that Moses did not get to the Canaan land. And so, but he built a process for the children of Israelites to Canaan land. And one of the things that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing is building process. Process that will work well for our future. And that is evidence from the Ministry of Interior. No Nigerians today can criticize what is happening with the Ministry of Interior. For the first time, it's no longer a ministry that just come out to announce public holiday. It's a ministry that is functioning and is doing their responsibilities very well. Our airports are changing, our passport acquiring processes are changing, and these are part of the things that we're talking about. And secondly, when I talk about Canaan, one of the hardest decisions to take in Nigeria had been the floating of the naira and the fuel subsidy removal, which I supported during the Jonathan's administration in 2012. while most of my colleagues were at the protest ground dancing and singing, I remember that I was the only one who came out to say that we shouldn't criticize the fuel subsidy removal, that rather we should ask what the government is going to do with the money that will be saved from fuel subsidy removal.
Okay.
Imagine if we had gone through that pain in 2012. By now, we probably will be living better, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will probably be doing something else instead of focusing and just taking us through the pain of the fuel subsidy.
But you know, President Bola Tinubu also was one of the proponents against the removal of fuel subsidy at the time in 2012. People thought he was part of the people that actually took us backwards, you know, economically. If he had allowed the fuel subsidy to be removed, if he had campaigned for it to be removed, probably we would not be where we are today.
You know, that's what we call politics and leadership. President Jonathan failed in his leadership when he succumbed to the opposition in terms of the fuel subsidy removal. He can't blame anybody for that. He can't. It was a decision that he was supposed to take as the president and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria. And so if he failed to take that decision, then he can't blame anybody for it. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has come and he has taken the hard decision. And that is why he should take responsibilities for every insult, every complaint that Nigerian throws at him.
Yeah, Sheila, let me quickly butt in here because we're rounding up very soon. Your decision during the last election, pre-election, and after the election, they didn't come without it, you know, what we call gbas-gbos right now. And between you and your colleagues, between you and the people on the social media space, you are very vocal, and they came at you, you as well. You returned the favor. It was a season of abuse, curses, very unprintable words, because you were very vocal and you said, whoever you won't call, you have granted in many interviews and say, I won't come at you, but if you come at me, I will never hold back. And that got you into different perception from many of your fans who saw your choice of words and like, is this Sheila really? Now, for the benefit of hindsight, would you say maybe now that you are here and what has happened, your choices of words with particular candidates, even in Lagos, some tribes of people, would you say maybe you could have done better and maybe you regretted what happened at that time?
I'm a person who never lives with regrets. I don't, absolutely. My choice of words then were my choice of words then. Would they be my choice of words now? Maybe not. Maybe not. But then it was at the heat of the moment and those words had to come out somehow. If I wasn't provoked to do that, I wouldn't have done that. If it was just an abuse on just my personality, oh, absolutely. I probably wouldn't have reacted that way. But when you come at my family, my kids, my wife, and then you ask for too much. And I was going to give it back to you at the level of your measure. Right. But notwithstanding, you know, some of the things that I've also seen is the fact that a lot of people have misquoted some of the things that I've said. One of those stuff is the fact that people said that I was against GROV because his mother was Igbo and all those stuff, and begin to throw ethnicity into my choice. And for me, my choice was not driven by ethnicity. It was not driven by tribe. It was driven based on the groundwork that I've seen, past achievement. Those were the things that drove my choice. And for GROV as a person, although I had my, you know, my reservations about the way he went with his campaign, not thinking in Yoruba, his choice of words towards some the traditional institution, calling oral fetish and all those stuff. And so I had my reasons to say, okay, I wasn't going to vote for him, but I never made any statement whatsoever towards GROV all through the election period. I never made any statement towards him.
All right. We understand we must go, but you are one person who is very proud of your heritage. You are proud of largest Doman, and you have never shied away of what is happening. You identify with your people in Ondo State. the election is almost here, and you have your influence. And maybe we drink like this. If time permits, in the coming days, we'd like to have you again to talk about the politics of Ondo State, because I know you have a lot to say. When one goes to your social media space, you have your things there, and you are passionate about Ondo State. But we'd just like to say thank you this morning, because if we start that conversation, I know it's one that we won't like to stop at all. Just give us that promise. Maybe in the next few weeks, we'll have you back to talk about Ondo State and your craft as a comedian.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. And we want to say thank you, Lua Sheiton Aletile, popularly called Sheilo. In the coming days, we'd like to have him again to talk about his craft, the politics of Ondo State, and many things, the project that he has in his hands. Thank you, Sheilo, for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Amazing conversations here with Sheilo, and the law is for Lawrence. You know, people might want to think, is it a lawyer or something? We have to, you know, switch on to another conversation at this time, but still on National Dialogue, what is going on in the country. We'll be back with another major stakeholder. Do not go anywhere, but then enjoy this video, still from Sheilo.
Right.
Oh, yeah. This is the best place they do frog's legs in Lagos.
Frog?
Frog's legs, you know. Cuisine de Grenville. Le Provencal. Frog's legs. You don't like it?
I like it. Frog legs.
Yeah, frog's legs.
What is this one?
The calamari, boiled octopus.
Octopus pot.
No. Boiled octopus. It's amazing, right?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. What of this one?
Oh, the boudin noir. It's cooked pig's blood sausage.
Yep. And the other?
I don't know, but it's cooked pig's blood sausage. Goes perfect with green peppers.
You know how well. And the other? It is fasty.
You don't like it? Oh, okay. Shay? Shay?
All right, you're welcome back. And this is the final leg of the conversation. And it's about, we're still talking and having conversation about national dialogue, the Nigerian project, and, you know, the decision makers, the decision-making process, governance, politics, the polity itself. And that's what part of what we do here. And is geared, this conversation here, every Monday, is about having a better and a working nation. We have been joined in the studio by the gubernatorial, you know, candidate for the Young People's Party, YPP, in the last election in Osun State, the last Guba election, Dr. Ademola Bayonle. He joins us live in the studio, finally, this morning. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. It's nice to see you in person, both of you. Amazing job, by the way. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. And let's quickly get to it for the want of time. Nigeria is at a space right now. And, you know, the decisions taken so far by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the promise that, okay, it's going to get better. We just have to do some of these things. The peculiarity of the first scarcity we are in right now, governance so far from May 29 to today, you know, 3rd of May 2024, for you, what has it been like? How will you describe it?
I think it's really like what people will say, that it is obvious to the deaf that, I mean, things are not probably in the right direction. maybe right direction, but moving very slowly. The realities on ground are not actually very encouraging. And either you belong to one camp or the other, you just need to ask yourself how you got fuel this morning. You just need to ask yourself the cost of food stuffs you're buying in the market. You just need to ask yourself about the security situation. You just need to ask yourself the reality of things and be able to actually tell the people in power that you might be telling us there's a renewed hope, but it seems that whatever direction you're taking us to, we're bleeding. Yes. So that's the reality of things.
We're bleeding.
Yes.
That's
absolutely
the way you describe it.
Yeah.
The government and their handlers have come out to say these are necessary things we must do so that we don't keep bleeding the way you have said it.
I don't think that is
that
the
it
right
comes with
word.
the pains.
No, it doesn't come with a pain.
The promise lies ahead.
You can't move gas fuel from 200 to, I bought yesterday for about 1,500. The salary still remains the same. Yes, the salary still remains the same. And you say that I should endure. I mean, you just literally want to kill the weak. That's what it sounds like, I don't want to call it ethnic cleansing, but like literally killing the weak off. Because a lot of people cannot adapt like that. And we have totally killed off the middle class in this country. Because, I mean, the 9-to-5 people, either in the private or the public sector, who have a static salary and it's not changing, and the fuel price is going up, and that comes with transportation cost, that comes with the price of food, that comes with a lot of basic amenities. We change power. We started forming band A, band all the bands. I mean, I think we are literally, they need to put a noose on our neck and probably drag us to point of no return and reopen the border again. So it's not, the reality is that if you say there's a promise, I mean, you should understand now that now people need to leave to see that promise. And you should be putting things in place so that they can actually survive to see that promise. What is happening now is literally, I mean, it should not happen. I'm not part of the people who campaigned or who said anything great about subsidy removal, by the way. Because I believe that if you're producing something in your house, the point of government is actually to help people afford it. So I was really not for it. You have to start from the basics every time. What are the issues with this fuel? People are repatriating fuel abroad. People are claiming subsidy that they are not supposed to. They say people will import water and say it is fuel, etc. Why not cut down on corruption? When we cut down on corruption and we see that the federal government still can afford it, then we start chopping up on the subsidy. Not just remove it, bam, and say that, okay, people need to like, now everyone needs to take cover. So yeah, these are the ripple effect of the subsidy removal. And I said something then. I said, this administration even met a lot of problems on ground. They created their own problem, and we've been battling with it since May 29. So, all right, yeah, that's what's happening.
You call, the removal of subsidy, the floating of the naira, as creating their own problems.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I mean. These are new branded problems. They were not there.
But the president has constantly said that this is a process we have to go through. In fact, the analogy given is like a woman, who is about to give birth. The pangs and the pains, it's second to none. They say childbirth pain is, the most painful, second to being born alive. So, the presidency has constantly said this is a road we must take, no matter how painful. And I remember a governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, saying that it's like a stylist. The president is like a stylist. When the stylist gets the material and cuts it all out, it doesn't make sense until he or she starts to put it up together. And we should actually trust the process.
Absolutely.
You don't trust the process.
The analogy you made about the pregnant woman, as a medical doctor myself, very good example. I would tell you your gestation period is so number of weeks, plus or minus probably 2. And I can tell you, I can date it. If you can date my problem and say by so time, this will be over. When the woman is contracting, you rub her back and you say, don't worry, just give it a little bit more minutes. Let's give it a little bit more hours. By so time, this will happen. Then he bears the pain. then let me even tell you, we don't leave pregnant women to just start contracting or be in labor without giving them some succor, some palliative, some really great palliative to numb the pains and make sure that it's not like we're butchering them. So using the pregnant women as an example, even in these days, people go through pregnancy and labor without feeling one pain. That's how much we've improved. So if you're saying that you're removing subsidy and it is a process, can you date when this gestation period will be over?
Right.
Okay.
If you can give me that time and we can say, oh, fine, don't worry, just give it till 2025, May, we will be fine. But you see, look at the Naira devaluation. It went up as if it was flying to heavens. It came back down a little bit. Now it's spiking again. There's something wrong there. It seems that they're really not grasping what is going on. Look at fuel. Look at what has happened with fuel. Of course, we had a time there was no queue. People were not even complaining. Now we are back to the filling station queuing. So it seems there are issues here and there. And I don't think they can boldly come out and say, by this so time, this will be over. Do you understand? The CNG buses they promised was what should have come probably earlier than now. I don't even think it's definitely not out right now for transportation. Lagos is doing fantastically in terms of food. They have food markets and everything, trying to reduce the cost of inflation. I think they're probably the only one in Southwest, as far as I'm concerned, doing that. So there should be some succor, there should be some real palliatives to make sure people don't die off in their houses and people don't. So that's how the examples you've given really does not tally with the realities on the ground.
You know, when you talk about Lagos State and the all palliatives, what it is actually doing or putting in place to ensure that the citizens have, do not have it that rough.
Yes.
Would you entirely blame Mr. President owing to the fact that the state governors seem not to be doing so much and everyone is just focused on the central? We know that of the fact that the FAC allocation to states have actually increased, but citizens or the residents of the state are not feeling the effect. In fact, some states right now promised buses. We are not seeing any of these buses. So would you entirely put the blame on Mr. President and absorb the state governors or the state government of not doing what they're supposed to do?
I think it's shared responsibility, to be sincere. We can't. One thing the presidency, the federal government has done is to give more allocations to the state, like you have said, clearly. That won't suffice for some sectors, like petrol, like gas. You understand? Those things still heavily maintained by the federal government. That won't take into cognizance things like exchange rates and everything. That's still federal government. But yes, they have given more money to the state to give us some cushion, which we've really not seen much. Maybe we're seeing the bridges, we're seeing some of those things. I don't know how that is going to help us, but what we're seeing is not in tandem with the reality of stuff. So I think it's a shared responsibility between the federal government and the state government. We can totally absolve the state government also. 2 weeks or how many weeks ago, Oyo State was doing election and they won't even allow people to do local government elections. We had APCs, AACs, everybody all saying this is not a free and fair elections because we know what is going on. Money coming from federal government coming in a joint account to states. And that is why they have successfully kidnapped the local government. So the states collects the money and they just put caretaker here and there, or the places that even have the boldness to do the election, they make sure that their people are in the grassroots and money doesn't go to the grassroots. Right. So the issue is all, because I mean, they are all separate. The federal is different from the state, it's different from the local, but I would say we just have two tiers of government right now. It's just really federal and state. The local government is moribund.
Yeah, Dr. Barnley, let's speak to specifics right now.
Yes.
We've spoken about the center, the subnational.
Yeah.
Let's speak to Osun State. You wanted to be governor.
Absolutely.
But by the way, you contested, and then you were not voted for. And seeing what the situation is right now, that was in 2022. This is 2024. Osun State is now isolated away from the rest of the country. You have been around for a while, at least. How will you describe the situation in Osun State and the leadership or, you know, the workings of the current administration in Osun State?
Simple. 1, misplaced priorities. 2, not visionary. Clearly, and that is literally what we talked about, or what I talked about, and I saw coming when I decided to run.
How?
Yes, exactly. We have, let me start from 2021 or thereabouts. Our budget for the year rose from 109 to 139 to now we have our yearly budget of about 273 billion naira, almost double of what happened last year. We have so much money, like she said, and everybody acknowledged, coming to the state. Now we know that the first priority of government is to make sure that people, I mean, the livelihood is just pushing, like everybody, there's equity on ground. The rich are not getting richer, the poor are not dying off. Make sure that life is livable for the people. Can you mention 1 or 2 things that these governments have put in place that is ensuring that is not making, that literally stands out, and it's not, and it's visionary, meaning that, you see, I said Governor Oyetola did something. He did Oúnjẹ Ìlọrin. I mean, COVID happened. People didn't know. He quickly put some food in place. At that time, I was like, you know what? If we had put in place a farm for the state, then we didn't know subsidy was coming, right? If that farm was in place, we'll continue production right now. Oúnjẹ Ìlọrin died the day Governor Oyetola left office. He did what he had to do with the limited resources he had, fine. But now we have subsidy. We're still giving hands out with the money we have. We're still building bridges with the money we have. We're still changing logos with the money we have. Please just go to the grassroots and ask people that, how do you feel 2022 or 2021 and now? So the priority of government, as far as I'm concerned, should be geared towards the people living a good quality of life.
All right.
And if that has not happened, and we're seeing White Elephant project, I think the priorities are skewed.
All right. Because of the, one tough time, let me ask you, you wanted to be governor in 2022.
Yes.
Let me ask you, do you still have that ambition now?
Well, politics and politicking is by the people.
Okay.
You have to feel the pulse of the people. If the people want you, absolutely. And if it is otherwise, you take a bow.
So what's the situation for you right now?
I mean, this is 2024. We're still clearly 2 years before the next one. So we're still consulting, asking questions, seeing how.
I'm asking these questions carefully because you have been seen and you have even put it up on your social media space in meetings, either you bump into them the way you said it, or you had a meeting with them. You have been seen, if I have those pictures, we talk Benny Rao Varabeshola. That's a big name in this nation and in this state. 2-time governor of Osun State. You have been seen with the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives at a time, Honorable Lasun Yusuf. Well, I like to say, is it aligning or realigning or consultation? Are you still with YPP, by the way? What's going on?
I like how you said it. You said a big name. Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola is the only 2-time governor we've had in Osun State. That's an elder statement. When the Yoruba community, culture says and ethics says that you really have to give respect to whom respect is due. Those are the burdens we have to bear. I mean, irrespective of...
There are many former governors you have not consulted.
Why do you think I have not seen them?
Okay.
There are military administrators of this state I've gone to see.
Is it politically inclined?
Absolutely not. It was just given. I was supposed to see him before the last election. Of course, it was very close to.
Let me ask: are those pictures recent?
Oh yeah, those pictures are recent. They were just a couple of days ago. I was supposed to see him. Unfortunately, I could not make it to see him. He's an elder statesman. I plan to actually see all the former governors. If Governor Adeleke becomes a former governor, anybody that yearns to run for office
or something. How about him now that is distinct?
No, he's in.
If you have something to discuss?
No, I don't think so.
If it's about the state for you,
I don't
why
think
not
so.
see him?
No, I don't. I've written a letter to them in the past, and I see that it's not a very receptive administration. I've seen other states. If the opposition is telling you something, politics in Osun State is not really about governance. It's about me. It's about fighting. It's about a show of power, literally. I don't think they really have the good intention of people at heart. That's the truth. because we've seen opposition in other states respond openly to people. If I notice if I say something about probably like cocoa, they talk about the same thing, but they don't even tag you that, oh, just to respond to it. The plan is not.
Dr.
Really,
Brown, so that we don't derail, those pictures, does it have anything to do with 2026?
It does and it does not.
How so?
It does in terms of if you want to run for office, I mean, you really have to go to people who have worn those shoes before and actually, one, appreciate their effort, good or bad. You just really have to say thank you so much for what you have done. I'm planning to do this, and I mean, there's no information or advice that is that you can throw away.
Before Evelyn comes in, I'd just like to chip in these. I'm sure you've seen the responses on social media.
Yes.
Many persons see you as part of the new breed.
Okay.
Your party in the last election was YP, and I've even asked you, are you still with the YPP?
Absolutely, I'm still with the Young
Okay,
Progressives,
many persons have seen people like you as a new breed. Now seeing you, there are people that have been categorized as the old order.
Yes.
You are aligning with the old order. Is that the case?
Visitation does not mean aligning. Respect does not mean loyalty.
Okay.
I can respect you for what you have done, because of your age, which our culture actually says we should, but it does not mean I'm loyal to you. If he passes my front, I will bow as a Yoruba person and say, good morning, sir, or good evening, sir. It does not mean if you say, let us jump, I will say, how I. No, it is just out of respect for the state. I plan to say Prince Olagunso Yoyilola, Baba Bisiako. Those are elder statesmen. There's no place you can throw them to. You really have to give them that respect. But people, you see, and this is also a learning curve for the younger generation. If I win, if I become a governor, it is not about, people even say I'm not a youth again, but by the way, but that's another, what's it called? You have to bridge all the gaps. You see, you're not going to be governor for just one demographic. You have to talk about it to the old and to the young and bring their energies together. They have seen things that you have not seen. That's the fact. And it's better you actually align with them in terms of for governance. But politically, that's not what is happening right now. I'm just going to pay him his due respect and say, Baba, thank you. For being, I mean, is only in the last 24 years, he's been the only two-time governor. Osun State people voted him for a reason. If you don't like him, personal views, but because I'm vying and there's a possibility I come out again in 2026, you have to give respect to him, respect his due. It does not mean loyalty.
Okay.
So you're saying that visitation is just out of respect, not really you trying to align with any of these political figures?
I am not, there's no form of alignment going on right now. It does not mean it won't happen, but I do not have any plan. I mean, in politics, that's just...
This is you being diplomatic, isn't it?
No, you have to be open. In the last election, we aligned with some...
You say you are not aligning, but you are not ruling out the possibility.
Okay, let me give you the example. Yeah. Last election,
it's because we are in one talk, and so that you speak to specifics. Or let me ask you, will you be defecting?
Defecting to another party?
From YPP.
If, push comes to
shove. I don't have that plan right now. Okay. I don't have that plan of defecting right now. Yes. And if I clinch the YPP ticket, believe me, we're running all through. Yes. If I get the mandate of the YPP, we're getting to the finish line. Yes. So there's no form of defecting. But like I said, you see, when you're running for office, SDP came to join us the last election. Some action party or something came, so they said, oh, we have the structure, EDC, come, we can work with you. Do you understand? So those are normal things in politics. It does not mean that, oh, you're doing something.
SDP came to join you? That was Architect Gokiomigbo?
No, there was a faction of SDP that actually came to join us. Yes, he himself did not come. Do you understand? Of course, he ran this race. But he knows about all these things. So there are alignments that goes on, but I don't plan to rescind or just abandon my candidacy and move to another party. If I do not get the ticket of the YP, because it's still up in the air, I mean, I might be forced to support a candidate, but that's not my plan. And I might also take a back set. But presently, going with YPP, getting their ticket, I'm getting to the finish line.
All right, so let's just, we are to round off very quickly, very soon rather. In the last close to 2 years, have you seen any development in Osun State, since Governor Ademola Adeleke took the saddle of responsibility as being the governor of Osun State? Have you seen any, obvious development in the state?
Absolutely. There's been, I mean, coming here, there was a road I was supposed to pass beside a Lameco roundabout. We had to take a shortcut because there's a bridge being constructed. That's some form of development going on. I'm aware there's some teacher recruitment going on. They just finished. That's also some form of development. The health insurance scheme people, you see that they've been actively trying to recruit more people into that band. So that's some form of development. So here and there, there's some form of development. But just to put a caveat on it, when you say development, if you're going to 10 and somebody is at 1, I mean, that's development. What we said is that we can push things to 6. So if you're measuring 1 and I'm saying, okay, we're building a bridge, for me, it's also, like I said, it's a misplaced priority. But it's still a development. You can't overrule it. We are changing our logo. Maybe it's a development. I have seen the roundabout, the rotary in front of the government house with all the former head of governors and the statue in the middle of it. It's also a development. Do you understand? Where they're using our money to do all that, maybe in the right or the wrong access. So we're seeing little stuffs going on. Maybe it's kind of like a snail speed, or probably not even unnecessary, but those are stuff I've seen.
So what would you like to see more from this government? What they should actually prioritize?
They need to prioritize
misplaced priority for
employment. It is extremely important. Employing the youth population, they have not touched that in any way or form. Agriculture, we need food. We live, our fuel is food. We have all this grassland. Go and look at their manifesto. Osun is the agrarian community. They get there and if they freeze. The budget of Osun this year is 5%, less than 5% on agriculture. What's their plan? And food inflation in Osun State is the highest by budget in Southwest. We have all this vast land growing weed. We are all high in Osun State right now with the weed we are growing. There's no food in the market. Osun is the nucleus of Southwest. We should be feeding all the other 6 states or 5 or something states in the Southwest. But we are not doing that. We're spending billions on bridge. It's shameful. And they should apologize for that. In a state where there's nowhere you're going that you can spend more than 30, 45 minutes. We use mini buses. Crying out loud. That is a waste of government resources. Why are we changing the logo in the first place? Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola changed. We are changing. So the next governor should also change. And that comes with changing all the paraphernalias of government, the insignias of government. We're spending money. This is a state we always label as a civil servant society. We're having 273 billion for the first time ever. We're building 5 bridges at the same time. How do we even know which one we walk? When you build one, you say, okay, the traffic now bends towards this side, let's fix here. That is a showmanship as far as I'm concerned, but showmanship with the lives of people of Osun State.
Would like to thank you especially. This is where we have to end the conversation.
Oh, we're ending already. I thought we were just getting warmed up.
Sorry about that.
Yes.
Dr. Ademola Bayonle, we appreciate your time on the show, but definitely we hope to, get you, in a later time, so we can have full time with you.
I hope so. I thought we were just getting warmed up. I've not even used some of the powers. I'm starting.
Oh, okay. So which one have you used this one? Is it the Abito Shaker?
We're just starting and warming up, but I'm still paraphrasing, but it's okay.
Right.
I'll be back again. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Dr. Ademola Bayonle was a gubernatorial candidate for YPP at the Osun 2022 election. Femi, we have to go.
Yes, we do have to go. Please do join us on all our social media platforms. You have the address on your screen, X, Instagram, and Facebook, on YouTube. This conversation, you can have a recap of it and many more on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Thank you for staying with us all week. We sincerely appreciate you. God willing, we'll be back. God bless Osun State. God bless Nigeria. Femi Ojo is my name. Bye.
And my name is Evelyn Ohiola, and I say that Nigeria will and must work in our own time. Bye-bye.